Yepwelp, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, I'm Tim, or better known as Mr. Yepwelp. So today we are back out on the river, but I'm going to bring something a little different to you. So every time I come out and prospect, I have a few things in mind. I usually do my test pan, and when I poke around and do my test pan, when I'm out there that day, I know right where my hole was, I know right where my location was, no problem. Well, even if you try to use landmarks or some man-made designation along your river or your route that you're looking for gold, there's a possibility that even a week later, maybe a month later, maybe a year later, the landmarks around there, the way the water's streaming, the higher and lower water levels, your area is going to get washed over and look completely different. Well, I found this app for a smartphone. I'm not 100% sure if it's available for Apple. I would assume it is. I have an Android. But I found this application that will allow you to mark your designation on a GPS locator map. I'm really excited to try that out because I don't know about you out there, but when I come back to my spot that I've already prospected, I'd really like to just be able to get set up, get to working, get to going. And that way we would spend less time poking around, dinking and dunking, and more time processing the goods where we already know the goods are at. I think if we pinpoint the locations and we give ourselves some nice distance in between each pinpoint of location, and I start clear at the front of the bar and go all the way down to the back of the bar, poke, I don't know, 10 to 12 holes along my way, and I will keep each one of those concentrates individual, so that way we can test them at home for exactly how many colors we will get in each location. And I think this will really help out because each and every time I do this, I can put a little marker on my application in the map, and that way 5-10 times later, once I'm out here, I might have 50 spots on my map, and I'll know exactly where to go to dig, or whereabouts to go to dig, where I've already dug, and where I've dug and where there was nothing. So without any further ado, let's get started with this application I found. We are all the way at the front of this start of this cobble bar at Big Bend here. Generally the area I'm walking on is flooded, and it is October right now, so we are real low water. What I wanted to show you was, if you notice behind me, there's some really light fine sands here, and we really don't want to mess around with any of that because that tells me the water flow right here was way too fast majority of the time to drop out any of the heavies. But if you notice just right past that light stuff that's coming out of this side here, you start to get your heaviers falling out, and then they fall out from here on back. I am going to make this area my very first marker on the little map app, and I will dig my test hole, and I'm going to try to keep it consistent to about 3 to 4 shovels per test hole, and then I will pan it out real quick, get a large majority of the useless top lighter materials off, and then I'm going to run it through my nugget bucket. Not intentions of using it like the nugget bucket, but I'm just going to use the funnel system and put a bottle underneath it so I can catch all my concentrates and bottle them up individually from each one of my test holes. And as I dig a hole every 20 feet, I will mark it on my map marker and see how well that turns out, and then we can log the amount of colors we are seeing each test hole. And the more test holes I do, it'll almost eventually being like a kind of like a drill map for an actual gold claim, and we will know where the majority of the golds are falling out. So I got my application open here. I've never actually used it, so this will be fun to go through it and figure it out together. I know you're not going to get a great view of my phone, but I will try to figure out a way to show you how I use this puppy once I get her all figured out. I'm going to create a point. It says move the map around to place your marker where you want it and place OK. So I'm going to place it right on top of my body, where it claims my body is. Alrighty, we're pretty close there on top of my body. Go ahead and hit OK. Long press to drag and move the marker. I don't want to move the marker, so I'm going to see if I can edit the marker. So you can edit the marker And I'm gonna leave it saying marker 1, but in front of that, I wanna put Big Bend. So that way, if I wanna go back and search Big Bend, all my Big Bend markers, I could probably find those. They'll be in a group. And then I'm gonna put marker 1. And on my bottle that I bring my concentrates home with, I will label it number 1, and then I will designate all my markers with a number and all my concentrates with a number. Therefore, when I'm cleaning them out at home, I'll easily be able to match them up to my markers and update the amount of colors we showed in each test pan. And it looks like you can even upload images and stuff, so I could take a picture of the area if I wanted to, which is pretty sweet. Looks like you just click the save button. And then, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but we have Big Bend marker 1 right there, right next to our body. So like I said, I want to be able to see how accurate this is going to be for when I'm actually going 20, 30 feet apart, to see if they're going to be right on top of each other, or if this app will be able to designate that I'm 20 feet downstream. So only way to test it out is try it out, and we will go from there. So that's what we're gonna have left after about 3 shovels full out of each test hole once I send them through the classifier. And that's about what we're gonna be left with once we get rid of a lot of the useless stuff. As you can see, that's pretty dark material, so that's telling me a lot of that's just black sands and hopefully a couple of specks of gold in there. To show you the little contraption I got made up to get this material in a bottle, because surprisingly it's very difficult to try to bag this up or bottle it up. The best way to do it is pour it into a 5-gallon bucket, but that way is very hard to keep them separated. So I'm not going to carry 35 5-gallon buckets back home, so I'm going to show you my little contraption I got going on here. Let's check it out. So as you can see here, I have my Gold Rush nugget bucket out. We're not actually going to use it for its intended purpose, where you fill the top full and let the concentrates run down into the concentrate bowl. I actually removed the bowl and remove the top classifier since the material is already classified, and I basically just need to rinse it down the bucket, in the funnel, into the bottle. So I'm going to leave the top classifier in there just to slow down the water flow so I don't have any blowouts, and just in case we had any bigger material left in there, which I don't think we do, but if we ever do, it'll filter it out. And hopefully I have less than 12 ounces of concentrates out of that little test bucket, and it'll go right down in my bottle there. And then we're left with a nice little bottle of concentrates. I'm not going to leave all the water in here because I don't want it to have 12 or 15 full bottles of water, because that's going to add more weight. So I'm going to leave just enough water in there to keep my concentrates wet, and we will continue on digging and see how many of these little bottles we can store up, and see if we can't get a nice little recreational drill map made for me and you guys when we come out here. Also, I'm going to label each bottle. So we're going to put a number 1 on this one, if my pen will work. Maybe, maybe not. Good thing I got 14 pens in my bag. Alrighty, I found a pen that worked, that wanted to cooperate, so we got a number 1 on there, and I will continue to label my bottles. And that'll be easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's get to the next hole. Alrighty, I think I have me a little bit better process here. Basically, I took the funnel out of the nugget bucket, and we're just having it set up on some rocks. And I'm gonna funnel the dirt straight down the funnel into the concentrator, because when I had this up against it like that, it was causing troubles in allowing the liquid to drain out because it was creating like a vacuum in between the bottle and the funnel, I guess. So this way's working a lot better. I'm on my third test pan. Number 3. Getting to be quite the walk. So I'm gonna run this one through and then I'm gonna pack up my stuff and move on down, and I will most likely be meeting you back at home because almost out of daylight here, so I want to make sure I get as many done as I can. Once I get home, I'm gonna show you exactly all the spots we marked, and once I get all the concentrates cleaned up, we'll be able to designate exactly how many flakes we got on each marker. And I really feel the more we do this, the better it's gonna be for our total prospecting outcome, and spend less time doing test pans and trial and error. I can just come out, set up, shred through the good stuff. But like I said, I'm gonna get this ran down, I'm gonna move on down there, and I will see you back at home with what I put together. Let me get you a better view of the map marker app I am using now I have it all set up. Upon opening it, you can instantly see all 10 of my test holes and my markers I have. Let's take a closer look at a specific marker. Here's marker 1. You can see at the bottom left-hand side of the screen, there's a short description of the selected marker you are on. Go ahead and hit the edit button to open the marker. That's the little pencil or pen icon in the bottom right. This is where you can title, write a description, or color code the marker. You can also tag an image or upload an image for the marker that might be useful in the future. Further down inside the specific marker, you will see the GPS coordinates, the creation date and time. It will also populate an address closest to you. Hit the back arrow at the top left to back out to the map. Once back out on the map, you can see all the different markers I have on here are color-coded. I decided to go with a color scheme depending on the results of my test pan. The gray-black was no color shown, the orange was minimal color shown, the dark yellow was okay color shown, and the bright yellow markers were my best pans shown. As we go through the markers, you can see the description note for each one, which is really nice if you're trying to find a spot to prospect. Marker 6. Wow. Now that is a test pan I'm talking about. So let's take a look at how easy it is to set up a new marker. Hit the Add Marker button at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Then you can either move the marker manually wherever you want, or use the My Location button on the top right and it will put your marker directly on your GPS location current. Once inside the marker, go ahead and name the marker, give it a brief description, add any images from your photos, or you can even take a direct camera shot. Overall, I was very happy with my new app today, and I'm definitely going to be using it as a prospecting tool. I really hoped you enjoyed it and you find yourself a way to document your prospecting for heavier pans in the future. As always, thanks so much for watching.